Hello, live long and prosper participants. I am so excited about this session. This is one of my favorite things to talk about, the Heart Protector Meridian. And it's one of the most incredibly important meridians and officials that we're going to discuss in our 12 weeks together. In a couple weeks, we're going to deal directly with the heart. Next week, we'll talk about the small intestine and how important it is to separate pure from impure and make sure there's good clean input coming to your heart. And then we're going to do some exercises with the heart itself to build your emotional core. But what we want to talk about today is the heart protector, which is in Chinese medicine, function trumps substance. In other words, these meridians do a lot more things than the physical description anatomically and even physiologically tells us. And so this is a bigger picture, okay? Chinese medicine is a big picture. We deal with the spirit, the mind, the will, the emotions, and the body. And, in our linear Western mindset, a lot of times people ask me, well, did my emotions cause the problem or my problem cause my emotions? Meaningless question. That's a question of a linear left brain type of medicine. Chinese medicine is holistic, right? So it's about the whole person. We're not trying to figure out which came first, the chicken or the egg. We just know chickens have eggs and eggs make chickens. So we don't really care. What we care about is making sure that we're not trying to turn an egg into something that it isn't. And so in the same way, the heart protector is one of the most important meridians, also known by the anatomical term of pericardium, and I'll be sending some handouts to you with this meridian, and you'll see the term pericardium, which basically peri means around and cardia is the heart, around the heart. And so yes, there is a anatomical substance called the pericardium which protects the heart, but also we're not just talking about the anatomical area, but we're talking about the whole arena of heart protection. Heart disease is one of our number one killers. It is the number one killer in the United States. Here's some statistics for you. About 610,000 people die of heart disease in the United States every year. That's about 1 out of 4 deaths. So about 25% of the people who are dying from heart disease. That's a significant thing, right? Heart disease is the leading cause of death for both now men and women. Used to be men, but now it's men and women. Congratulations, gals. Way to catch up. More than half of the deaths in heart disease were from men. So over 50% are male. But, so if it's 51-49, it isn't that big of a deal, right? And every year, over 735,000 Americans have a heart attack. So that's a significant amount. Of that 735,000, 525,000, or most of them, are first heart attacks, and 210,000 are people who've already had a heart attack. A big part of our health picture has to do with cardiovascular health, and that's the heart of the fire element, so we need to definitely deal with it. Now, if you go to a cardiologist, I listened to a cardiologist on the radio yesterday. If you go to a cardiologist, they're going to talk to you about something they call risk factors, okay? Risk factors are basically other stuff that goes on with people who have heart disease, okay? So some of the risk factors are like high blood pressure. High blood pressure is considered an increased or elevated risk factor for heart disease, and that's because basically the people who tend to have high blood pressure also tend to have some heart issues. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. High blood cholesterol has been mapped to heart disease. Now, I'm not sure that that's entirely a causal relationship, but they seem to go along with each other. Diabetes, that one definitely does. Diabetes and prediabetes. So your blood sugar floating all over the place is a very, very important thing with your heart. Smoking, that's an obvious one. Being overweight or obese. So, just carrying some extra weight on your body is an additional burden for your heart. And, assuming your heart is weak, then that would lead to a greater incidence of heart attack or heart disease. Being physically inactive. The circulation system has the word circulate in it, so movement is super important for heart health. Also, having a family history of heart disease, obviously, and then having an unhealthy diet, and then catch this one, age. Just being over 55 increases your chance of coronary heart disease. Well, all that tells us is that we're not doing a very good job living long and prospering. We may be living long, but there's not a lot of prosperity going on in our bodies if we're having heart disease. Okay, now, what's glaringly missing in this list is emotions, which is the key part of heart health. It's so amazing. Everybody knows that stress contributes to heart issues, but that's not a risk factor from the American Heart Association. Kind of funny, right? Funny in a sad way. What we find is actually, if you compare statistically, if you compare the impact of stress versus the impact of high cholesterol, stress is much more an important issue for the condition of your heart. In fact, in the late 50s and early 60s, doctors in studying people who had heart issues noticed there was a personality, which was kind of cool to see them come to the Chinese perspective, and they called it the type A personality. Type A was marked by impatience, hostility, aggressiveness, and so it's interesting that as we have equalized females to be more impatient, hostile, and aggressive, we have heart disease coming along with that for them. So type B, by contrast, is a more thoughtful, introspective, slow to react personality. So what I want to do today is I want to talk about heart health, but I want to talk about it from the heart protector, which could be called your emotional heart. And so I want to share about that. Okay, so first let's just talk a little bit about the pathway of the heart protector meridian, or the circulation sex meridian. If you were to stand in what they call the anatomical position with your palms facing out, the heart protector meridian begins right lateral to your nipple, 1 inch lateral, comes through the shoulder along the middle of the biceps, and all the way along the middle of the anterior arm, and ends on your middle finger. So, heart protector, we'll talk in a couple weeks about the heart, but follows right along with the heart meridian. And so a lot of times we have a condition called angina, which basically is a non-specific pain in the heart region, and a lot of times that pain will shoot down the heart protector meridian. So that's a way that the body's trying to tell you that, hey, bud, you're a little stressed out. You're a little suppressed. So that's a little bit about the physical pathway of the heart protector meridian. It also connects with the 3-heater, which we talked about last week. Remembering that meridian has the 3 spaces of the body. So the heart protector as well deals with the 3 spaces. In fact, another name for the heart protector is circulation sex, and so it's very involved in the lower part of the body, in your sexual capabilities and your sexual joy, and for women, lubrication and all that kind of stuff. This meridian is very, very important in all of that. Okay, so let's talk about the heart of the heart protector, if you will. So this meridian is a guardian for the heart itself, and specifically it guards about emotions that can affect the heart. One word that I like to use with this particular meridian when I'm diagnosing with people is trust. This is the meridian of trust, right? Trust is that gift that we give to another person of an open heart. And so this meridian has a lot to do with our ability to trust and to be trustworthy and to be successful in the world of relationships through trust. Now, we know that for a lot of people, trust is difficult because they've been abused. They've gone through pain and they've been mistreated. And so they have their, what we say, guard up. I've got my guard up towards that person. That's a statement of the heart protector. Okay, so relationships have to be built on trust. One of the things that I'm going to include with this study is a document about self-trust, how to develop trust in yourself and the whole area of trust. So go through that, read through the questions, read through the comments, and some of the information there to help you work on the heart protector, because with 1 of 4 people dying of heart disease, you want to make sure you're not in that group, and the heart protector is more often the case. Okay. So when the heart protector is our trust barometer, and so one emotion that tells us how we're doing with our trust and how settled our heart is the emotion of anxiety. And so I treat a lot of people with anxiety. Anxiety is becoming a very, very common concern for people. They're not sleeping well, they're getting wound up really easily, they're having a hard time settling down. So anxiety is a symptom of the heart protector being out of balance. That feeling of worry and nervousness and lack of ease. When all that is a reflection of how we feel about reliability in our lives. And so when we feel that things are not reliable, we tend to get uneasy. We tend to get nervous and anxious. And so a lot of healing has to be done to the heart protector. And so as I mentioned, I've put this self-trust guidebook in there to help with all of this. Okay. So let's talk about some of the symptoms of the heart protector meridian, or circulation sacs, also known as the pericardium. Some physical imbalances are chest pain, symptoms of chest pain, chest discomfort, palpitations, which is an irregularity to the heartbeat, angina, which is that pain that I talked about, nonspecific pain in this area. Also, any kind of swelling in the armpit, because the meridian goes through the armpit, and spasms of the arm, elbow, or hand. A very common heart protector pattern is something called carpal tunnel syndrome, where there's an inflammation in the band where the nerves come through into the hand. And many people have that. A lot of people blame it on their computer. But understand this, that your computer is just a tool. People have been working with their hands since the beginning of time. What is more likely the case is suppression of emotion, causing inflammation there. Okay, on the negative, some of the emotional signs of the heart protector being out of balance is the emotions of jealousy. That feeling, that loves me not, that uncertainty of jealousy. Selfishness is a sign of the heart protector being out of balance. Extreme stubbornness, sexual tension, difficulty just relaxing and enjoying, having physical intimacy. Regret and remorse. So, if you're living constantly thinking about how you coulda, shoulda, woulda done things differently, might be considering the heart protector. Stubbornness suggests the idea of rigidity, inflexibility, the refusing to bend, change, and adjust. The opposite of that, of course, is being relaxed, being soft inside, being willing to consider things without having to be in control. Control is an issue of the fire element, and we'll talk about that in a couple weeks when we talk about the heart itself. Very, very important. The whole area of control, but it's hard to separate the heart and the heart protector a lot of times because they work so intimately together. So control is a big issue. Okay, so let's see. Some things that we can say to ourselves to help our heart protector be healthier. Just going to read a few self-statements to you. Number 1, I forgive myself. Really important. Forgiveness binds us to people. Unforgiveness, But it also, with the person that we get most stuck in is earlier images of ourselves. So, we're going to make mistakes in life, hopefully not the same ones over and over again, but even if we do, we need to forgive ourselves. I'm grateful from what I've learned from this experience. Attitude of gratitude is so important for the fire element. In 2 weeks, when we talk about the heart, I'm going to give you some gratitude empowerment technology. That's just going to blow your mind. I forgive and let go of the past. Let yesterday be yesterday. I am present. I'm here now, be here now, right? So we want to be present with our life. You know, there's no joy if you're not present. And joy is the emotion of fire. So you want to be present in your life. I live in the present moment. I am protected. I am generous, right? Generosity, open heart, open pocketbook, because your heart, the Bible tells us, where your heart is, your treasure is. So generosity of the pocketbook. You know, it doesn't take that much to be generous. It just takes a little bit over time. Makes a huge difference in the condition of your heart. Life is generous. I expect good things to come in. You know, the Bible tells me that when I give to others, it's given back to me, pressed down, shaken together, running over. So there's a generosity of life. I feel like life is generous. God is generous. People are generous. I walk in an atmosphere of generosity. Real important for the heart protector. I am yielding. I don't need to have my way. You know, I can just relax about having to be right. I am relaxed and my body's relaxed and my sexual energy is grounded and balanced. All that is stuff for the heart protector. Okay, time of day. The heart protector's time is 7 to 9 p.m. And so this is an important time to be building intimacy. This is usually when we have dinner together, and this is not the time to be looking at your phone. This is a time to be looking into eyes and touching hearts and communicate. You can look at the phone later. You know, this is, you know, I see people going out to dinner with their phones and their whole conversation is, they don't really have a conversation. They're on their Facebook account or whatever during dinner. No, this is your time to connect. Make sure you're connecting. Otherwise, what's the point, right? Giving and gratitude, you know, those are two words of the heart protector. Giving, being grateful. So we'll talk about that, or we are talking about it, but couple points on the heart protector to really help. One is 2 fingers above your wrist crease. It's a point neg 1, inner gate. If you'll massage that point, it helps with anxiety, it helps with nausea, it helps with seasickness. C-bands are on that point. It helps with carpal tunnel syndrome, and it's just a phenomenal point. Pericardium 6. It's 2 fingers width above between the 2 tendons there. And then in your palm, you have pericardium 8. If you take your middle finger and you drop it down as tight as you can make it, it'll be right on pericardium 8. And that's a great point for just calming and also directing your attention. Okay, so that's the heart protector meridian. Incredible, incredible meridian. I'm going to be sending you some exercises for it. Let me just show you real briefly. This will be in your handout, but I'm going to show you anyway. So you put your arms in front of you like this. Because we're talking about an open heart, you open up broadly and just stretch out. Let your heart protector open up, and just imagine your heart sending love. Then bring your hands back together, turn your palms over, and open it again, all the way out. A lot of mid-shoulder tension, mid-back, upper back, between your scapulas are about heart protectors. So again, open up, bring them back together. Turn the hands over, bring them out, bring them back together. Heart protector. Okay, it's been great sharing with you guys. Remember, a little red wine, a little dark chocolate, a little strong coffee. All that is so great. And of course, all your leafy green vegetables are fantastic for the fire element. God bless you. We're having a great time doing this. And stay tuned for your next session with the small intestine. And after that, we do with the heart itself. God bless you.